Hi, this is Brian from The Sleeping Elephant. I'm going to review The Moral Landscape, How Science Can Determine Human Values by Sam Harris. To sum this book up, it's really the right or the wrong. Should we really trust what religion points as what is right and wrong? Who is to judge this? And Sam Harris chooses science. When he says science, it is really hard to fathom what he means. His arguments in this book are very vague and really just challenges religion. There isn't much backing to it. And he makes this somewhat statement, let's see what science can do, or let's choose what is the best alternative or other alternatives that can serve other people that will point into the direction of everybody's well-being and what evidently is the best method. It is definitely a book I'm going to read again. It was hard to understand. All his other books that I read were very easy to understand. This book was more complicated. It was harder to comprehend because Sam Harris lists so much statistics, reasons, and straw man attempts. You can be blinded by this, and that's what I was. I'm going to read this again. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another review on it. However, I'm still going to go over a few things, and also you could take advantage of the quotes that I'm posting. Why choose religion when science is better? And that is a logical attempt that Sam keeps on repeating in the book. And with science advances that have been going on for these last 200, 300 years with the scientific revolution, is what is the best choice? Is the best choice using these scientific instruments to explain what is right and wrong, or ancient books that there is no evidence of a god or written by a god that we should follow those? When things have changed and there's not much fluidity in these books, who determines what is moral? And since Sam Harris is a neuroscientist, a good point that he makes is that morality can be unconscious and conscious. That people aren't aware of the morality. They think they know, or feel they know, or feel that they're making the right decision when science can better explain the choice. Sam Harris can sound condescending, a smartass, or be the beholder of moral judgment like he's a god. If people have gods, then who is he? Is Sam Harris Tom Cruise? No. There has to be a replacement for people's beliefs, new knowledge or new experiences. People change, and a lot of this time it takes time. It doesn't happen over an instant. Your thoughts of insights or catharsis doesn't happen at an instant. It takes time to actually sink into your mind. One bias is the endowment effect. People demand more money in exchange for an object that has been given to them than they would spend to acquire the object in the first place. In other words, people don't like loss. They prefer to win. And in order to maintain that non-loss and to maintain the effect of not being a loser, they will err onto the side of maintaining the status quo. In other words, praying for a win or maintaining a certain belief. And beliefs can stifle growth. That's a fact. Sam doesn't want us to get into the moral blindness of tolerance. That if you're having a failure of reasoning or not being fair, and to question the situation, he puts it as facts versus values, morality and justice. He's challenging faith like he always does, challenging religious dogma, and he highlights people in religions as followers, that they're pursuing something for the sake of moral law, not being an individual, but being more of a sheep, which he puts a lot of people in religion as that it's people may follow it because they have nothing else to follow. There are other things to talk about, such as abortion and Islam, death, suicide, martyrs. I'm not going to ignore that for this. You could figure that on your own. He puts it as a forefront in terms of neuroscience, because neuroscience is about the mind, and that we should do our best to understand the mind before we give up our power and determine our values and morals from a religious demagogue. Don't just blindly follow. Try to think for yourself. Something interesting that I noticed is that some people make moral choices based on religious scripture. And these choices could be really any religion. It is a very difficult landscape to try to understand, where Sam Harris puts it as facts are objective and values are subjective. And what do we put value in? It's very confusing. And one of the big fears I think he made this book for is that When a religious demagogue calls the shots through some sectarian religion, is that they can brainwash others to follow suit and rewrite the scripture. And that's something to think about. To close things off, I would like to say this is a very difficult book to understand. I do not consider this one of his top books. I would put this toward the bottom of his other books. But I would definitely take another look at it and watch some YouTube videos to better understand what he's trying to say. So you can go ahead and check out all his other books. I will be reviewing all his books, and there's another book that I haven't read yet, but it sounds interesting. It's called Faith versus Fact: Why Science and Religion Are Incompatible. And that's by Coyne. It just sounds interesting. Thanks for listening.